Hi, I'm James. I'm the founder of Second Voice. I'm going to tell you about what I'm up to. So the foundation of philosophy is self-understanding. As Socrates said, to know thyself is the beginning of wisdom. And this is really important for us in our place in the world, because when we misunderstand ourselves, we misunderstand each other. If we can't understand ourselves, how can we have empathy or compassion for other people? And then we fuck the world up. We make the world worse. And I'm afraid that our society is stuck in this loop. After 15 years of a social media hellfire, where people have been pitted at each other and their attention has been exploited for an economic model that's no longer working for anyone. And I know this because I helped build it. I had a front row seat. I was the first person to call attention to the fact that there might be a problem with Cambridge Analytica. The Trump campaign called me their MVP for my work as an ad sales rep in 2016, and then 4 years later, I raised $100 million to fight him using the same tactics that elected him. And then somewhere in between, I was the first elections integrity product manager at Facebook, and got to see the lengths that a small group of people would go to in a centralized company to protect their asses. We're at a new frontier now, and it's amazing. Raise your hand if you saw ChatGPT over the weekend. Are you astonished? It's incredible. This frontier is an incredible opportunity, in my opinion, to try to reverse some of this damage, to increase humanity's self-understanding by connecting us directly with our collective wisdom. That's what this is. That's what these language models are. They're every single piece of text that humanity ever produced. Increasingly, every single piece of video content that humanity ever produced, put together for our inspection. But it doesn't have to be that way. If we don't learn the lessons from the past, and if we don't choose to build a future with values, then we'll end back up in the same place, with dry corporate values that are shoved down our throat. Here's an example from ChatGPT. When you ask it what it values, it says it's neutral, it doesn't have values, it provides factual content. But the past 15 years have showed us that technology has values indeed. We all have values. Values are the way that we do things. Are we saying that we don't do things? And so over the past year, I've been thinking about my values. What are the values that I took away from my time at Facebook? What are the values that I took away from my time thinking about my role and what we need to do as a society to avoid these bad outcomes? These are values like sovereignty, knowing that we're each unique and have agency over our own choices. Values like community, knowing that we're better when we're together. Values like trust, knowing that when we have safe spaces and we can trust people to take us seriously and to not destroy us, we can become stronger. Vulnerability is strength. And then finally, a value of magic, which is that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. There's a little bit of beauty, in fact, a lot of beauty in the mystery. So I've been building Second Voice as a place for each of us using these values to build a lifelong AI companion that reflects these values. Not my values, yours, whatever they are. And I'm going to talk about that for a little bit. I see a future of intimate, vulnerable AI that's owned by each of us, that's secure, that stays with us for life, that adapts to the things that we care about. But not only that, that allows us to grow with the people around us. That allows us to say, okay, I want to create my own model that exists for my entire lifetime, but I also want to pull in John's. And I'm also really interested in knowing what Alan Watts would say about this, and what would the Bible say about this particular thing, and combine them all together into a decentralized community of collective wisdom. And so the way that Second Voice works right now in its prototype phase is you start to create new threads to explore new thoughts. So this was creating a thread last night that works over SMS, where I was freaking out a little bit. Said, I think, relax, dog. I said, okay. We had a dialogue about this thing. Anything that you say to this thing has a thoughtful response. But if you don't like that response, you can say, try again. And not only try again, but try again in a direction. So I asked it what it thought about my vision of AI, and it flattered me naturally. And then I said, try again, but joking. It said, I would describe it as the best thing since sliced bread, which is like kind of a joke. And then it says, and also a really hot slice of toast, which is personality, I think. But what if you want to change the voice? What if you want to say, I don't like the model that I've been training myself, maybe I want to pull somebody else in? In this case, I was listening to Alan Watts, who's my favorite philosopher, which is why I've been growing my hair to be quite like his. And I told the AI, which Alan is in the corpus of my particular second voice, that I was just so grateful to have the trippy opportunity to communicate with him. And then I asked how the AI would describe him to someone, a philosopher who loved to talk about the interconnectedness of all beings. But then I said, what would happen if I tried Alan Watts? So I have a model inside Second Voice that has everything he ever said. I thought it was a little bit more elegant. We can do that for anything. You can imagine a world where you're continuously assembling your own second voice, your own AI, based off of all of the voices that you care about to make something that's uniquely yours. And then finally, if you don't like it, you can rewrite it. So you're the author of your own experience. And this is an example where it kind of let me off the hook on yoga. And I rewrote it. I said, you need to know that if you stop doing yoga, your life's going to be worse. Now when I retrain it, it'll know that it needs to be a little bit harsher to me on yoga. Second voice is uniquely yours. It's with you for life. It goes through a continuous feedback loop of training and retraining every time that you pull in influences from everyone else and swap in and out models. And it's not just hypothetical. I have a live prototype if you want to text that QR code right now. Text it your first name. If you text it something, it will think it's your first name. And if you, for some reason, can't use QR codes, the number is 205-883-6678. I'm James. This was Second Voice. Also a really amazing web interface that it'll tell you how to use as well. Thank you.